Welcome to the Basket Buds edition of the Athletic NBA Show podcast on the Athletic Podcast Network. I'm your host, Zach Harper. We got Dave DeFore producing. We got Mo Dackeel. We got Trevon Edwards. We got Jay King. And all right, I got to be honest. I'm pissed off at the Timberwolves. I don't have to get into the series at all, but I'm pissed off at the Timberwolves. Once you're down 0-3, just lay down. Absolutely just lay down. Like, the Hawks should have been down 0-3, and then I would have been mad at them if this was going to a fifth game, but that's on the Celtics for screwing up and giving them game 3. But if you're down 0-3 and you get into game 4, put up a fight, have some pride, but not that much pride. Okay? Stop it.
When I was with the Clippers, our first time in the playoffs in 2011, and we were down 0-3 to the Spurs, and I was just ready to be like, it's over. As the video guy, I was just like, I don't want to go back to San Antonio to just lose game 5 and then come home. We were getting our asses beat the whole series. And I was just like, can we just make sure we lose? Let's just make that point and make sure
Mo had no heart. Mo had no heart.
No, it's not about heart. Like, there's no comeback. There's no comeback from 0-3. Like, this.
Fly to San Antonio again.
The most annoying part of the Timberwolves, they blew it. They had their chance to give us all a break from the rest of the series.
Okay,
but
you know what?
We got to watch
Jokic.
Rudy Gobert and Karl Towns one more time.
Jokic, you miss one of those 2 free throws. Oh, I hope it affects you in the MVP balloting. I really, that is unforgivable. Make us watch more Timberwolves basketball.
Writers sprinting back to try to change the ballot.
Email like, hey, Ernst and Young, I have a change.
But at least we get another Anthony Edwards game. He's been fun.
He's a dog. He is a dog.
He's great. I don't want to watch the rest of his teammates. The rest of his teammates are not dogs. I mean, cool. Just like give us some workout videos or something, man. Like I'm done with it, man. Thank you to the Nets. You know what? Thank you, Nets. One of the most chaotic seasons we've ever seen, and you didn't go out there and go, "Nah, fuck this. We got pride." No, you lost, and that's what we like. That's what we like around here. Again, if it's down 0-2, whatever, fight all you want. Down 0-3, don't give us that crap. Speaking of down 0-2 and fighting, guys, the Golden State Warriors transition. The Golden State Warriors look dead in the water. And now I will admit I am entirely confused. I have no idea what to think here. I don't know if they're back. I don't know if they're just back at home. I don't know what's going on. We have the Draymond Green suspension. They come out there and play great. Even after that game, after the game 3 victory, I'll admit, like, I still thought the Kings were going to win the series until Steph Curry said, they say Draymond has a history. Well, we do too. And I thought, and like that line was like, oh shit! It wasn't the game that convinced me the Warriors might do this. It was literally just him saying that into the microphone after Game 3 victory. Game 4 comes out. Draymond gets a technical almost right away. It says instantly. Wanted to let them know that ain't shit changed. And then the Warriors had almost one of the most hilarious collapses. And this is from a team that lost after being up 3-1 in the finals, but they're up 5 with 47 seconds left. Steph calls a timeout they don't have because they wasted it on a challenge that wasn't a good challenge. It was such a bad, I mean, even from the start, I was like, there's not a chance that this gets overturned.
It was the dumbest challenge. He said that. And when he even looked back at the bench, I was screaming at the TV, don't you dare. Yeah. Don't you dare. And whatever assistant gave him the finger to challenge that, literally gave him the finger. It was like a dumb ass play.
Such a stupid play. And so Steph calls a timeout. He pulls a Chris Webber, right? Shout out to Chris Webber, Fab Five. And then
or Chris Webber, it's 30 years later and he's still the
one. What? You should have won a title. Then we would have forgotten about it.
He almost got rid of that title yesterday. Like, it would have become the Steph Curry.
Yeah, so De'Aaron Fox hits the free throw. I think it was De'Aaron Fox. Might have been Malik Monk. I can't remember. And then De'Aaron Fox hits a 3. They're down 4. For some reason, Steph goes way too early on that next possession with about a 3.5 second difference.
What was that? Steph just
he went at 14. Like, he went at 14. They had 10 on the shot clock, and I mean, he got an okay look, but it wasn't a great look. I guess for him, anything's a good look, but
we don't never question his shots.
Isn't that crazy, Trey? It's at this point now where he could try to kick the ball. It would be a violation. I'm like, well, shit, he was open. Like, I don't know. Like,
looked good.
Yeah, looked good. I thought it was good. Off his foot, it looked really good.
I said it while watching the game. Jordan Poole took a similar shot, I said, "You're not Steph."
Oh,
it was crazy.
Roast his ass if it was Jordan Poole.
It was crazy. It was crazy thinking about it. He tried that one-hand runner thing again.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like no shot is a bad shot when it leaves his hands because he's made so many crazy shots in his career that he's earned that respect and trust from his peers, his fans, the people that hate him, dislike. Anytime it leaves it, it's a chance of going in, and that has to be a wonderful feeling.
Do you think when Jordan Poole looks in the mirror, he sees Steph Curry looking back at him, or do you think when he looks at Steph Curry, he sees Jordan Poole?
Ooh, I think Jordan Poole sees himself, but also has the confidence that he's better than Steph at some point.
That's wild.
Like he honestly, but it's so delusional, but to a point where he's like
$140 million.
I think he has. I think he has one of those mirrors that makes it look like Steph is smaller than him. When he gets in, Steph shows up, but it's small Steph. Like it's something like that.
So we get that he misses a shot. Kings get the ball with I think they call it timeout with like 10.5 seconds left, and Warriors throw a double at De'Aaron Fox, which good idea because he's been the best clutch player in the world this year, and he kicks it at Harrison Barnes. And this is the thing that's so crazy, right? Harrison Barnes misses a little to the left. It goes back iron. He shot from the left wing. If that goes in, we're killing the Warriors. Absolutely killing the Warriors. That misses by about an inch and a half, 2 inches.
48 hours of slander.
Yeah, 48 hours of slander. And now we're like, all right, the Warriors, they've got it together. And I just don't know what to do. Mo, I don't know what to do with this series now. I am entirely confused.
Absolutely. Like this is actually kind of par for the course. Warriors bad at the road, win at home. Like that's just kind of what they do. And it's sort of par for the course. It's one of those things where that shot changes the trajectory of it. But just to remind everybody also, game one, Andrew Wiggins had a shot to take the win, a wide open look. And then you had Curry with the runner to try to tie it. It's not like they were just completely outclassed on the road. So it's not like it's kind of one of those things where both teams can look around going like, we should be up 3-1. Like both teams are in that situation.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think that's another thing too. A lot of people, if they're non-Steph or non-high percentage 3-point shooting players, it's a bad shot. Or why did they pass it to them? They're basketball players. They're open, not open for a reason. Andrew Wiggins has made that shot in his career. Harrison Barnes has made that shot in his career. Yeah. But again, when you miss the shot, it comes with the territory. I'm glad that how he responded too, by the way. HB said, if I was to let a shot like that define my career, then,
he would have been out of the league a long time ago after that.
Exactly. And that was the learning moment from him. He understood, like, bro, I ain't gonna make them all. This is a part of the game, and when I step between those lines, there's the consequences of it. So it doesn't affect him too much.
One more thing.
What do you guys think? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, that was phenomenal defense from Steph, by the way, on the end of that possession. Where they're setting up that pick and roll. But even before that, like they're trying to get the switch onto him with Fox. And at first he does a great job showing, gets Fox to back up, pokes the ball away, just disrupts Fox's timing the whole time. And then that forced, Draymond pulled in and that forced the kick out. And then it was a good closeout. Like that was just great defense from Steph too.
Absolutely.
What did you guys think of the decision to bring Harrison Barnes into the action rather than just let Fox go one-on-one? That was something like it ended up getting a good look for Harrison Barnes, a good shooter. Like it worked out in some ways, but also just letting Fox cook would have been like I probably would have leaned that way just because of how many big shots he's hit this year.
I think we've seen enough of this in the past with the Warriors' end of game possessions. Draymond was always running at him. Draymond was always going to run at Fox. So I don't think he was ever going to get a one-on-one possession. And so I don't mind sort of like almost the rhythm or confusion that the Kings could create there by saying, all right, now we have some two-man action. Like you thought you were going to get a one-on-one here. Now we got a little two-man action. So you have to like play the coverages and communicate and everything. And that HB is going to flare out there, right? He's going to pop out to the wing no matter what they're doing. So I don't mind that because I don't think he was ever going to get a one-on-one situation. And at least this, in my mind, like I would think like it kind of creates some muscle memory for Fox. Not that he necessarily needs it, but creates muscle memory in the sense of like, all right, you know, when you're running this 2-man action, if this happens, you kick it. If you're trying to go 1-on-1 and all of a sudden Draymond Green's this crazy defender in your face, like running at you, maybe that creates a little hesitation. I thought Fox handled it really well, but yeah, like I don't mind that because I think it gives now the Warriors extra to think about as well.
I mean,
I'm so glad. Oh
no, go ahead, Dre.
We're all jumping in.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm so glad that you mentioned Draymond Green. Hats off. Hell of a defense, hell of a return.
Yeah.
The dunks, the aggressiveness.
He smoked a lot of layups, man. He smoked a lot of layups.
Hey,
but he made a couple.
But I'll live with it. He had a rare dunk. He was aggressive. His timing,
he ripped that thing through too. That wasn't a rim grazer. He was
going through it and letting his 3-for-4 team. Think about that. We haven't had Draymond Green take 14 shots in roughly since 2015.
Yeah, what in the Dillon Brooks is going on with that shot line?
So again, Russell Westbrook line.
Again, I'm all about it. I'm all about it because again, he was getting fired up. He obviously had some riffs with Fox. I mean, that comes with the part of the game.
That was great, by the way. That was so good for both of them. It was so great.
He also had Kings fans turning on Domantas Sabonis. Like they were like, he's unplayable. I've never seen anyone scream for Alex Len like the way that stuff was going on.
My dad, who has no idea who's on this Kings roster, is like texting me like they got to put Len back in. I was like, what's happening right now?
Yes, that's the thing. What's happening? Alex Len is an important pivotal piece of the 2023 playoff series.
And that's the thing. Alex Len has sat 80%, probably higher than most of it, the entire regular season to come up and be playable in the playoffs. It is crazy to me. I remember when Alex Len was with the Phoenix Suns and was just like, oh,
garbage.
Such a total garbage.
Oh my God.
He was slander proof.
Terrible basketball player.
I commend Alex Len for being a professional and sticking it out and remaining to keep a job and be effective for a newly. I mean, he just earned himself a deal.
Yeah,
if he's, you know what I mean, he might get him 2 years. He probably extended his basketball life.
He might give himself a mid-level. Like he's been good, man.
If the Mavs are going to give the mid-level to McGee for 3 years, why not give it to
Hey, congratulations on your Mozgov contract with the Dallas Mavericks. Go take it and just be shit.
But I just wanted to shout out Draymond. He backed up his talk. He
did, yeah.
You know, again, we look at him as one of the most elite, smart defenders this game has ever seen, and he continues to show up. And when he's not playing, the Warriors are broken. So as much as Steph is and the face of this, you know, obviously Steph can win games without Draymond, but he can't win championships without Draymond. And he has to be on the floor. And the same thing with Clay. Clay has to make shots. Clay makes big shots.
Made some big shots. He was terrible with the paper airplane after. So he's 0 for 1 on paper airplane. So he's, I think, 4 for 9 from 3. Jay, you were on this Kings team from last year, and then you abandoned them as the playoffs were starting. Where are you with this series?
This is an amazing series. And the Kings have proven themselves to me because obviously you knew the offense would probably carry, but they've done enough defensively to take the Warriors out of what they want to get to make this really, like, they've forced the Warriors to be great to just to beat them. And they forced, like, Draymond made some unbelievable defensive plays in that game, and he needed to. So the King, they've proven themselves to me.
I'm super impressed with the poise that they've had in there, because even last night's game, or yesterday afternoon's game, like, even with that game, they could have easily folded, right? Like, they could have easily been like, well, shit. I mean, they fought, and I mean, again, like, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches away from being up 3-1 in this series. Now, and to your point, Mo, I think it was you said earlier, like, you know, they were almost down 3-1 this series as well, if you count game one. But I wondered how the Kings were going to show up in the playoffs and what there was going to look like. It looks a lot like the regular season for them.
And there's been a lot of times when, like, the Warriors, there's just nothing they can do with Fox. And to me, his performance over the first 4 games of the playoffs is up there with the biggest storylines of the entire postseason. Is that this guy, obviously, he's had a great season, but to do it on this stage, to do it against this team, to do it against the basketball intellect that the Warriors have, he's given them so many problems. And even the last play of the game, they didn't score. He got a double team with Draymond, who came at him and really played it well and read it perfectly, found a guy for a go-ahead shot that was really wide open. And I could not be more impressed with the way Fox has played throughout these 4 games.
You regretting
I keep going back to that. I keep going back to that last sequence though. I also don't know if they should have called timeout after Steph missed the shot.
I would have loved for them to push that and not let the Warriors reset.
And I think they were almost surprised Steph went so early, because
that's a good point.
There was supposed to be such a little time gap. Like they were supposed to get it with like 3 or 4 seconds left. And instead they had 10. They had plenty of time to go in transition. And then who knows what would have happened. But they got a good look out of it. You can't really complain too much. Yeah. But in those situations, I usually lean, especially when you have Fox in transition, I would always lean like, just don't call a timeout. Let him cook in transition.
Let me ask you guys a question though. Would you have advanced the ball the way they did, or would you keep it in the backcourt and let Fox try to go full court, full head of steam?
No, because I mean, with 10 seconds left, he's not like he can go length of the court in 2 seconds, right? 3 seconds. Like
I'm saying, I think you come in and set like a back screen on Draymond or something, or whoever was guarding it from the beginning, and him coming to full head of steam. It's a lot harder for a guy like Curry to just show like it's more of a, what they did in the half court was more stagnant, whereas this one would have been more just like, oh shit. Sure,
but I also think, like, again, if you're Mike Brown and you're really anybody, you have to know Draymond's going to do some shit defensively on this to blow anything up, right? Like, we've seen Iguodala do it, we've seen Draymond do it. Like, I just think you have to know I think in theory what you're saying, Mo, is correct. I just don't know if anything applies when Draymond's on the court defensively. I don't think there is any, like, this is the right strat. Like, they got a great look and no question, and it just missed, like, I think we can and will second guess a lot of that. And I think it's fair to do so, but it's tough to go against the process there. One
last question. How relieved was Steve Kerr when that shot didn't go in? Because he's the last 4 or 5 minutes of his timeout usage was some of the most awful
coach, man. Oh my god!
Like, I was stunned.
Man. Just save one timeout in your back pocket, okay? Just save one.
Did anyone else?
Go ahead. Jay. No, go.
No, go ahead.
Well, he called one timeout, like his second to last timeouts, like with 4:30 left, and I thought it was to sub in Draymond because he was worried at that point, and Draymond didn't even come back in the game. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I also, like, why didn't they just start Draymond? It was this whole big thing.
He volunteered to come off the bench.
Yeah, they do this thing. They do this thing.
Like, no, you're our second best player, and you will start the game.
Steph did it last year against Denver. Like, it's this thing where I think they're like, all right, strength in numbers, bullshit.
It actually made a little bit of sense to me, just in the fact of, like, they were getting their asses kicked when they had 2 bigs on the court. They were a little slower defensively and things like that. This allowed them to put another guy a little faster to help them on the perimeter. It's also not surprising that Keegan Murray started to go off in that instance when there weren't 2 bigs in the game. He's good, but it's like, I think that's kind of the calculus, at least. And you know what? Fuck it. I don't mind. Experiment a little bit. Why not? Yeah. Like, that was worth trying.
You would be the best defensive player of the generation in the
It's not like he wasn't going to play 38 minutes. It wasn't like he's going to not play it wasn't like he's just playing 20 minutes this game. Like, you sit him for the first 5.
Agreed.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Chime. Visit chime.com/NBA show for more information. Do your financial goals feel out of reach? Well, they don't have to. With Chime's secured credit builder Visa credit card, you can start building credit with your own money through on-time payments and small everyday purchases like groceries, streaming, and even gas. Members see an increase of 30 points to their credit scores on average. Chime reports your payments to the major credit bureaus, and it helps you build your credit over time. It's super easy, and all with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. Start making your financial dreams a reality with Chime. Signing up only takes 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/NBA show. That's chime.com/NBA show. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank N.A. pursuant to a license from Visa USA Chime checking account and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply for the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card. Regular on-time payment history can have a positive impact on your credit score. Impact to score may vary, and some user scores may not improve. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply except at MoneyPass ATMs, in a 7-Eleven, or any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM.
Speaking of questionable decisions, the Cavs, the Knicks are kicking their ass. The Knicks are absolutely kicking the ass of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And look, it's funny. I can't remember who said this. There was someone on Twitter that said this, and it's like, all right, this doesn't really apply. It was something like, I don't ever want to hear about defensive rating again. It's like, well, but that is the best way to. That's how we measure.
Their defense has been great most of the playoffs.
Their offense is ass. Like it is. I mean, Darius Garland was the only thing working in game 4. Like the only thing working. And when the ball was in Donovan's hands, it was stagnant as hell. And when the ball was, especially in the third quarter, I actually thought JB Bickerstaff made a mistake. Like Darius Garland picked up a couple of quick fouls early and he sat him. And it's like, dude, your point guard is not going, like, this isn't like Evan Mobley or Jared Allen picking up 2 quick fouls. And you're like, okay, well, they're going to keep attacking. Like, it's Darius Garland. How many times does he foul out? How many times is he in foul trouble? I think you have to trust your point guard in that situation to not be someone who's just going to keep racking up fouls, even if they're going at him. Like, you can play that in a certain way. And so once Darius Garland was back on the floor in the third quarter, he was killing the Knicks defense. Killing, like just shredding them left and right, getting any shot he wanted, setting up guys for dunks so easily. And like Donovan Mitchell admitted after the game, he played like shit. But like, you guys are about done because the Knicks have completely outclassed the Cavs in this series.
Yeah, that one Garland stretch was the only moment where their offense looked at all lively.
It's the only time it looked good. Yeah.
He was unreal during that stretch. Like they tried every coverage against him. He was picking apart every single one. And then to me, this whole series has come down to the Knicks just have more options because they have more viable players. Yeah. The Cavaliers, they're running out LeVert, they're running out Osman, they're running out Okoro.
They need a wing so bad.
They have no good options. They have nobody to make shots to stop the double teams on Donovan Mitchell, which are a big reason why he struggled the way he has.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other piece is like their first shot defense has been incredible. They are getting pounded on the glass.
Yeah.
They need to do a much better job on the glass. And it's tough because Mitchell Robinson is a force. The Knicks are big. They're physical. But you have to do a better job on the glass. And then they just had so many like scouting report errors, especially against RJ Barrett. Like close out short against Barrett, who shot 31% from 3. Don't let him get straight line drive to the rim. He got like 5 or 6
in like
that
a
were just
row,
so easy.
It was just time. I'm like, what the?
It was wild.
I think the problem is just mainly like this is a young team. They're relying on a young vet in Donovan Mitchell, who you could say had a excellent regular season, but still lacks intangibles to lead a team to, to solely do it by himself. And that's not the possibility of it. You know what I mean? Like he's going to get his points. He does that. But when it comes to making everybody better and doing the other things, it's not really working. And then the idea of Cedi Osman having to guard Brunson, that's been a nightmare. You know what I mean? You would think that would be Karis LeVert's role or somebody else. And, once
he's been getting toasted too.
Oh, man.
Isn't Okoro's only attribute is that he's a defender?
Yeah, but I mean, I just think that they just have too much. And, with Josh Hart getting the starting job, that's his job to take now.
And the Knicks are just like, Okoro, you can have every wide open corner 3 you want. Like, take them all. Take them all. Like, we do not trust that you're going to do anything to us. Mm-hmm. You're not Torrey Craig.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, go ahead.
Well, just one of the things, this is also a relatively young coach in Bickerstaff too. Like, I think I know he's been around a long time. He's been like the interim coach Hall of Fame because he's had so many of that title so many times. But the fact is, like, this is one of the first times it felt like this is actually his team and his job. And he's a young coach too. Like,
he's a really good coach. He's a really good coach.
There's a lot of people out there already trying to replace him. And I think that's too early. I think this is just one of those things. He's got to learn and grow with this team in that sense. I think it's a little like it's a little bit wild already to start trying to fire Bickerstaff after one playoff series when they didn't have a complete roster.
Is anyone actually trying to do that though? I don't think anyone's actually trying to do that.
How many options does he have? Like, people are mad at him for starting Caris LeVert. It's like, who is he supposed to put in there?
Yeah, like, he can't play. Rubio's been useless in the series. Like, LeVert has had one game where he was good. As Trey mentioned, like, Osman is like their best end of game defensive option against Jalen Brunson. Like, there's just not much. What are you going to put in, Dean Wade or something? Like, you can't do that.
I mean, they have no Alex Len.
And then you look at
Alex Len. They have no Sasha Pavlovich. Like, there's a lot of holes here. No Ira Newble.
No Ira Newble.
And then you look at the Knicks supporting cast, and it's such a huge gap. And the Knicks, like, they have more shooting. They have guys who can make plays off the bounce. Like, Josh Hart is infinitely better than any secondary creator the Cavs have. And I'm including Mitchell and Garland as their primary creators. Like, Josh Hart, put him in there, all of a sudden you have more options. You can do different things. They don't have anybody that they can trust on offense. They don't have anybody to alleviate the pressure on their main guys. And that just makes it so tough to score against really a tough Knicks team.
And then also, like, they got a big game from Obi Toppin. Like, credit to Tibbs for benching Randall and sticking with Toppin, you know, in the last 5 minutes of this game and things like that. Like,
how about Randall?
No, we're going to get to Randall in a second, but just first, let's just talk about the positive side of it. Toppin was awesome in that sense. Like, I thought and again, that takes a lot of balls to be like, as a coach, to not go put your guy in who's, you know, the all-star Julius Randle, who was playing like ass and all that stuff. But Toppin made some great plays on the offensive glass. I mean, they're going to put Donovan Mitchell on him. Good luck, because Mitchell's not going to be able to track him. He's going to be moving around all over the place.
Give it to Tibbs, man. Like, again, he made some decisions that maybe question him, but he know how to coach, man. Yeah. I will give him that. I mean, he knows playoff basketball. Yeah, one side of the court. There's a joke with Josh Hart saying, "I'll play 48 if you need me to." I said, "Do not play that game with that man."
No. He'll play you 53
in a game that didn't go to overtime. Yeah, like, that's the more amazing thing.
Let's talk about the Randall thing real quick. I don't want to sully the Knicks are good, man. They're fun. This is a good matchup. But I don't want to sully the Knicks conversation. I don't mind sullying Randall. I don't want to sully the Knicks conversation because it is 95% positive right now. And we've made a lot of jokes at the Knicks' expense, right? And all deserved. But I love, this is going to sound stupid. They have my favorite uniforms in the NBA. I like watching a good basketball team in those home uniforms. In that environment, it's just something different about it. I just enjoy it. And so I love me some Jalen Brunson. I love Josh Hart. I can't believe Jay King was trashing that trade, which I don't know if that's an accurate representation of how he viewed that trade, but we don't need to get into it. We don't have time. We're running late, Jay. We're running late.
Move on. We got to keep going.
We got to get to the Randall thing. Not a great vibe check if your team wins and you're up 3-1 and you're so upset you didn't get to play the final minutes and you just don't talk to the media after or whatever. It's I don't want it to be overblown by any way, but Mo, you've been in these locker rooms before. Everyone should be happy after a win, right?
Yeah. Oh, you should be happy when you go up 3-1 in a playoff series. You are. The Knicks haven't won a playoff series since 2013. That's a moment of
that was my favorite Knicks team, by the way. That was my favorite Knicks team. Oh my God, J.R. Smith doing whatever he wanted.
Has Julius Randle ever been out of the second round? I don't think so. I don't remember it at all in any case and things like that. But that's a moment.
First round?
I mean, sorry, out of the first round. Excuse me.
Oh yeah,
he's never been out of the first round.
Yeah.
And I think when you're looking at it, you got to be like, yo, go give Obi Toppin some love. You know you're going to get your minutes and do all that stuff. Go give Obi Toppin. I was on the most miserable team that went on a 17-game win streak when I was with the Clippers. None of us were happy when we were winning games. I know what it feels like. And you know what happened to us in the playoffs? We flamed out in the first round.
Smoked.
So I'm just saying, you got to just be. just give Toppin some love. That's it. Go to the hey. When they ask you mad you didn't play, whether you're mad or not, when the media asks you that, hey man, Obi had it going. That's all you.
Yeah, you could also say, you could be like, yeah, I'm frustrated I wasn't out there, but any competitor wants to be out there. But I'm happy for Obi. Like, he's worked hard. He played great. Blah blah blah. Right.
That was such a BS move by Randall. Obi Toppin, first of all, Obi Toppin played great. Give him his flowers. Go say Obi was awesome. Go say have everybody's back. You cannot be miserable after going ahead 3-1. That just speaks so poorly on you. It speaks so poorly on your attitude. It's like, come on, man. And I think the Knicks are lucky that they have a lot of the other guys in their locker room are like just total professionals, total winners, like Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart. Those guys aren't going to let this impact the way they approach things, because I think in another situation with different personalities, there's a chance that a move like that could just really create some hostility in the locker room.
I think that's, to your point, that's part of the beauty of having not just a Jalen Brunson on your team, but Josh Hart as well, right? Like and I would say D Rose, even though he's not as involved anymore, like he's still having that presence.
Seems like he's a similar vibe, even though he's
like it's just too. Like exactly, like having those personalities in your locker room. Like that's why I don't want to overblow this and focus too much on it, because I do think this is a positive Knicks story overall. But that's the value of bringing those guys in. It's just like, man, those dudes are professionals. Those dudes are so grounded and just good at what they do that that normally I would think like, oh, we're headed towards kind of a Knicks disaster. Even up 3-1, I would be like, I don't know if this is gonna be able to hold together if this is last year's team. But this year's team, man, this is fun. And the fact that they found the same guy out in the streets, like, KD, do you regret not coming to the Knicks? Like, oh my God, Dave, we need that. I know I don't want to put a lot of production in there for you right now, but man, we got to have that in there.
I was just talking to, one of the super fans, Jerry Ferrara, earlier before we joined, and he was just like, don't jinx it.
I know Jerry's very worried about jinxing this thing right now.
He's like, guys, you know what happened last time?
Yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Well, just looking forward to the Knicks too, though. Like, we know Giannis is going to play tonight. Like, that was just, he's going to make his return, but that's going to be a long series, it looks like, at this point. Like, you get a little bit of rest. You don't know what happens. It's like, it's kind of lining up for them a little bit. Like, it's not crazy to say Knicks can make the conference finals.
Yeah, Knicks champions. I think you're right. Knicks champions.
The conference finals. Okay, conference finals. Okay. Like, I think it's not crazy to say that. And if that happens, I mean, Trey, I worry about you being in New York. You got to leave. Leave.
I'm flying to New York if they make the.
Hey man, listen.
No, I don't think the city could survive.
I'm going into the sea. Listen, they better be ready for Damian Lillard to become a Brooklyn Net. Hey. They better be ready for Damian Lillard to become a Brooklyn Net. I know that.
Whoa. Allegedly.
Hey.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at First Leaf. Head over to tryfirstleaf.com/NBA show and save 50% on your first 6 bottles. I love this time of year. When the weather's getting warmer and I get to see my friends and family more often, whether we're going to meet up for a birthday party or a barbecue, or we're just hanging out, I always want to have some great wine that I can share, and that's why I love First Leaf. As America's most personalized wine company, First Leaf just has completely taken the guesswork out of my wine selection. I just go online, answer a few quick questions about what I like, what I don't like that week, and their experts curate a selection of award-winning wines tailored to my taste. You get to choose how often you receive your wine, and every single selection is backed by First Leaf's 100% satisfaction guarantee. First Leaf's monthly wine club has made my wine shopping experience much easier than it used to be. I no longer have to wander around a giant wine store guessing at what I'm going to like based on the bottle. Now, I love sharing great wine with my family and friends, and I know you will too. So give First Leaf a try and head over to tryfirstleaf.com/NBA show to sign up and save 50% on your first 6 bottles plus free shipping. That's tryfirstleaf.com, tryfirstleaf.com/NBA show to save 50% on your first 6 bottles plus free shipping. Tryfirstleaf.com/NBA show.
All right, let's move on. Jay, you mentioned something like what a weak BS move for Julius Randle to not talk after that game and be a good teammate. And something happened recently where I can't remember who it was. A player asked for the maximum amount of smoke you can give someone and then whine that it's too smoky. Just whine that it's too smoky. So Dillon Brooks, I poke bears. He's too old. I wish I could have played Miami or Cleveland LeBron. That would have been a much harder challenge. Then he went out there and looked like he shit his pants and wet himself when LeBron talked to him pregame. That was not confidence looking back at LeBron. LeBron always covers his mouth, always hides conversations, and he made sure everyone saw that shit. And even talked about after the game, was like, I like it that way. It's like, no, I've seen you cover your mouth on almost every conversation you've ever had when it's not on a basketball court. And LeBron wanted everyone to see it. And then Dillon Brooks put up 13 shots in 19 minutes, was 3 of 13 for 7 points, and only played 19 minutes because he claims a basketball play is trying to do a cup check with the back of your wrist, back of your hand. That's a basketball play of try. That's how we all steal the basketball, right? Is you throw the back of your wrist at it. And so he gets ejected for intentionally hitting LeBron in the nuts, and then wouldn't talk post game after the Grizzlies mostly got their asses handed to them. Although Ja Morant did have a really incredible second half, man. He was so good in the fourth quarter. Like he was unbelievable, and he made it respectable. But then Dillon Brooks declined, and then the next day he did talk to media. So good on him for talking to media. Except he blamed the media and the fans for being negative. Thought that that's the reason he got the flagrant 2. Notoriously, referees give a shit what we think, and that's how they officiate a game. And just a move of cowardice, a lack of accountability, no toughness. I just don't look, I wrote this in the Bounce, right, where he blamed us, and I said, I don't blame I don't like to speak to the fans or media members in general, but we're not the reason you hit LeBron in the testicles. We're not the reason you hit Donovan Mitchell in the testicles. We're not the reason you committed a dirty play on Gary Payton II in the playoffs last year. We're not the reason that you knocked over that cameraman, then acted like a dick. And we're not the reason that you're kind of at the end of your rope here when it comes to any kind of credibility, any kind of toughness, any kind of favoritism, even in your own locker room. So, Jay, how's your boy doing? How's Dillon Brooks looking these days?
It has been a
tough week,
tough weekend, tough year. I have been.
Who do you blame more, the media or the fans?
I have been the lone Dillon Brooks supporter.
No, you're the super fan. You're not even a supporter. You're a super fan. I'm pretty sure if we pan the camera, there's a poster.
And here's what's happened with Dillon Brooks. He has leaned into this character so much that he is now a caricature of himself, and he is just maximizing everything that is wrong with him. He is so delusional about who he is as a player. He is so to say that the media made him a villain. This guy shows up to games without a shirt on. He talks absolutely reckless about every single opponent. He gets an ESPN story about him and just takes a shot at Draymond Green for no reason at all, and then has the balls, which he would hit if they were someone else, to say that it's the media that's made him a villain. He wanted to be this villain. He wanted to be the guy that everyone hates, and now everyone hates him, and he can't take it.
It's a free agent this summer, by the way.
And so I honestly think he's lost himself, because there is a thin line when you play the game the way he does and you're an agitator like he is, and you have limited offensive game like he does, where every shot you take can be a detriment to your team. And he won't stop shooting. He won't stop doing things that will harm his team. I will say the one thing I think he caught flack for that he shouldn't have was refusing to do media the night of the game, because we just saw it with Draymond Green. He spoke and didn't give any apology, and they held that against him. The league did when suspending him. So if you're Dillon Brooks, you're still pissed off. I understand.
You don't learn from that?
Not wanting to risk that.
No, I'm not giving him a pass on that. I'm not giving him a pass on that.
You won't give him a pass on anything.
No, you're goddamn right, because he doesn't even know how to pass the ball when he gets it. So I think that's an important aspect of it. But like, listen, you take that shot, you talked all this shit leading up to this game. Your name was everywhere, all of those things. You
gave up like 11 of the first 20 points. Like,
you got to go talk to the media after the game. I don't care. Be measured in your words. Be short.
He's not really a measured guy.
Well, he's not very a words guy, to be honest with you. Have you heard him talk? Like, that's kind of the issue. Measured. But like, one word answers, short, whatever, but show up. And don't put that on your teammates to have to answer that stuff for you. And I think that's an important aspect. We're going to give Randall shit. We got to give him shit on this stuff.
I think that's a good point, Mo. Like, that's the thing, is like, you don't force your teammates to have to answer for that shit, right? Like, that's stuff that you completely brought on the series and the situation. Like, you want to do that. And then now Ja's got to answer it. Now Desmond's got to answer it. And like, they can be like, I don't want to talk about that. But still, like, that's going to come. And it's not just like you avoiding it. It's you avoiding it, and now your teammates have to answer for
it. Yeah. Honestly, like Dillon Brooks is obviously the headline here, and he's part of the Grizzlies' problem, which is that once they get into the half court, they just don't have a lot of answers. And there's so much you watch these games, and there's so much the Lakers are willing to give up. Like, they're okay with Dillon Brooks launching a three. They're okay with Ja Morant shooting jumpers. They're okay with so much that the Grizzlies get to. And right now, honestly, the Grizzlies have no better options than Dillon Brooks. And that's part of the problem, is that
I played Tyus and Ja together. I know that's a nightmare defensively in terms of like size.
Especially with Adams out and the size that you're already
I played Luke Kennard. Like, you gotta have some positive there in that. Look, Luke is food on defense, but he's someone you cannot leave. Like, you at least have a great shooter out there and a guy who can play make if it's Luke Kennard. Like, to say they don't have better options, I don't agree. I just think I think that they can change the way they look. I mean, you play Tyus and Ja together, like, you give up a lot of size, but like, Tyus makes nothing but smart decisions constantly.
That's Dillon Brooks too, right?
I mean, they really miss D'Anthony Melton. They really miss
and Kyle Anderson. Like, they lost a lot of talent from that team last year, and they're so much thinner. And like, the guys that they thought were going to be ready in Conchar and Roddy, like, just aren't totally ready for minutes. And I like Conchar well enough. I like Roddy well enough. But it's like, when you're in a playoff series against the Lakers and it's LeBron and Anthony Davis you're up against, you need to be at a really high level, and they just don't have that. And it's too bad they're not healthier, because they are missing some real pieces.
Yeah.
If they had Brandon Clark, if they had Steven Adams, this would probably be a different series. And I think
absolutely.
Yeah. They would at least have the physicality and the size to match what LA does. But right now, they're a team with offensive holes. They're a team that they're lost in the half court. And that's something that's been consistent for them throughout this entire rise. So they need to figure that out. And until then, honestly, they're just a fraudulent team that talks too much and is going to get their teeth kicked in the games that matter most.
I do want to say this, though. I don't want them to stop talking, because, again, I love it when the stakes are raised because people talk trash. So please don't stop talking. Just
get better at it.
Yeah, just get better and maybe back it up in the playoffs. You back it up in the regular season, you got to back up in the playoffs. All right, one more thing before we go, and this is a big one. We talked about the Knicks and their potential. Mo said that they might win the championship, right? So their
Conference
potential
finals,
run,
stop it. Conference finals, stop it.
Cut that, Dave. We got the Knicks. Like they still have to close out the series. Things could happen, but they're awaiting their opponent essentially, and that's going to be either the Heat or the Bucks. Now, Jimmy left Game 3 with a bruised glute, and it sounds like I think Spo said, well, if he needed to come back in, he could have, but we pushed 20, so there's no reason to put him back in. Obviously, Tyler Hero's out. He broke his hand. Victor Oladipo, another just devastating injury for him with that patellar tendon, and so it sucks that they lose him. Not that he was contributing necessarily, but I mean that's just, man, I feel bad for him. That's a tough last few years that he's gone through. But it sounds like Giannis will be back in Game 4, and even though the Heat are up 2-1 and they're shooting the lights out, and this is the Heat basketball that we saw last season, and this is the Heat basketball that you expect to see out of them. Giannis coming back, I'm just going to assume he's going to be fine. And it obviously changes so much of what the Bucks do. But Jay, do you think the Bucks are in trouble? Like down 2-1, even with Giannis coming back, is there any part of you that thinks the Bucks are in trouble? Or do you just think like, okay, now we are going to regress back to the mean and the Bucks are going to be the Bucks again and the Heat are done?
I wouldn't call it trouble, but now you're in the margin of error. And all it's going to take is 2 huge Jimmy Butler games over the next 5, and you're gone. And
Jimmy's been playing his ass off. Like Jimmy's been so good.
He's been amazing.
Yeah. And to quote Jay wanting me to quote Jimmy Butler, I'm so fucking locked in right now. And there's nothing I won't do to win the championship.
Exactly. And then Milwaukee, like their defense just needs to be so much better. This Heat offense struggled all season. It had no life all season. It was just terrible all season. And they are leading the playoffs in scoring. They are leading the playoffs in offensive efficiency. Duncan Robinson is suddenly confident for the first time probably in years.
Shooting 73% from 3.
And Giannis changes a lot for Milwaukee. But it's not just him. That's not the only reason that the Heat have been getting off. They need to tighten up their defense. They need to take away the threes. They need to at least limit Jimmy Butler. Like you can't give up huge Jimmy games and still get beat by the threes. You have to at least take one of those things away. And they haven't taken anything away.
I mean, thankfully, Trey, that you have all these problems defensively. Well, Giannis is coming back. So you would think that Giannis is going to solve a lot of that, but maybe Jimmy's just in too good of a rhythm right now. I don't know.
Giannis is like the same line as Steph for me.
Yeah.
He shows up and you
Good
better be
happens.
better be on his side than be against him at this point. I have yet to say anything bad about Giannis Antetokounmpo. I refuse.
I used to say some bad things and I regret them.
Okay,
you say bad things, Jay.
Listen,
what?
Everyone was saying bad things after he got beat by the Heat that one year.
Regrets.
And the Raptors.
Listen to Mr. King. Yeah, man, I think it's a good sign. I think it's one of those not Willis Reed moments where he shows up and everybody plays amazingly hard, but just having him on the floor just builds that confidence and make the Heat alter a couple things, But again, Jimmy Butler's a tricky one, dude. He can shoot 19%. He can shoot 19% from 3 all year, and then all of a sudden it's Jimmy Butler time.
Yeah,
and he gets to going every time. He is Mr. April, May, and June. So, I know Jimmy wants to finish the job. Hopefully he can. But again, number 34 in that green uniform,
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Pretty good. Yeah. That's the thing that I'm trying to because I always want just what's going to be the best basketball, right? I want the best basketball, the best stories and everything. And I have to keep reminding myself, like, no. I think like we want Bucks Celtics, right? Like, or Sixers if they finally exercise the demons and solve the Celtics in a playoff series. Then I think like, oh shit, here come the Sixers, and it's like this big positive building story with Joel Embiid and everything. But part of me just keeps trying to remind myself, like, no, you don't want Heat Knicks. Like, as fun as that used to be, and as fun as that could be in the short term, that's not a long term thing here. Like, we do kind of need Bucks Celtics for just like the best basketball and the best storylines, but I'm getting real confused here with the way Jimmy's doing things, and I'm just like, oh man, the Knicks in the next round, that guy, like, because I think Bucks Knicks is not going to be that fun, whereas Heat Knicks would be, oh my god, like
just the fans
just
going
insanity,
at it.
Like Jimmy in the Garden for 3 of those 4 games, like 4 of those 7 games. Yeah, I forgot that they're the 8 seed. 4 of those 7 games, like that, man, that would be just ridiculous. But I'm trying to keep like the long term, like, no. The best basketball would be Celtics Bucks, and like that going 7 or whatever. And whoever wins. But like that, man, I don't know. I'm getting real enticed by this Heat thing.
Maximum chaos, Zach. Yeah. I'm okay with maximum chaos in that sense. Yeah. And the last thing you want to do is give the Heat life, right? Like give them any sort of notion
They're just
of that.
Zombies, man. Like you just like you have to like shoot the head. Like that's what you have to do.
And then the thing that's scary, it's like you're talking about you just need Jimmy to go off for 2 games. Shit, man, Max Strus goes off for a game, and all of a sudden you're in a weird situation where now it's like he can absolutely go nuclear from 3 and almost win you a game. And I think those are the things that kind of have to scare you a little bit if you're the Bucks. But yeah, again,
at the same time, Giannis is like it feels a lot like Omar's coming from the White. It's like Giannis is on his way. He's whistling. Like
if he could have the jacket and the whistle, it might be really hot in Miami. I don't know if he could wear that.
It's too hot. You can't do that now. It's too hot.
Have Drew Holiday and or just have the ball boys running, going, Giannis is coming. Giannis is coming. Like, that'd be amazing.
It just like I keep talking. I'm like, man, I'm really enjoying this Heat series right now. And then like I just like, oh, Giannis is on his way and could correct all this shit. Like just it because everything does just fall into line for the Bucks, right? Like it's just now everyone's complimentary, and he doesn't even have to be on Jimmy. He like him playing kind of free safety within their defense is just such an incredible weapon for forcing those shooters into feeling uneasy, which my God, like for all but like the last 15 games of the season, that Heat team was shooting like 35% on wide open threes. Like they haven't been comfortable all year.
And it's not even that. It's the transition game gets much better when you have Giannis. Like you said, free safety that elevates Brook. It allows Drew to be more aggressive up on the perimeter. Like it opens up so many different things, and it covers up mistakes for guys like Joe Ingles, who's I love him, but he's slow. And it's allows them to make up for those things on the defensive end. And then they all get cleaner shots and cleaner looks. And it's not so dependent on Bobby Portis. And I feel like those are the things that Giannis is coming.
Yeah. Does what happened in the first 3 games of this series change the way you guys look at the Bucks, or is it just like Giannis fixes everything?
Yeah,
I think him alone being out there is just that important.
Like I've still questioned like their defensive strategy, right? Like where you have to be in drop against when Brook's out there, and like they still give up a lot of 3-point attempts. Now I think that a lot of it's designed to like hopefully we give it to the shooters we want taking those shots, but you still give up a lot of like good looks on 3-point attempts. Like I still have questions about them, and I still have questions about like, is Middleton going to get to his best at any point in this playoff run? But no, like I think like Giannis just cleans so much of that up, and his presence just changes so much of everything that happens in every aspect of the game that I think it's more of the latter than
I tend to agree. He's a force. It's like, what would happen to the solar system if the sun was gone? Like nothing.
You orbit for a short amount of time still, and then you just evaporate into nothing.
Honestly, I think it's just the Heat also make these things happen. Like the way they play, the crazy shooting that they had in game 1 was absurd. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like somehow this stuff works that nobody can replicate what the Heat do.
I really hoped we were going to end on like me having just an impressive random knowledge of what would happen if the sun went away. that I completely lifted from Neil deGrasse Tyson on an episode of Smart
I
List.
knew you were gonna pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, and we just ignored that. We just blow right through that, and that's fine. That stop sign doesn't need to stop anybody. But yeah, I was hoping you guys would be like, "Wow, Zach, what an insightful scientific, examination by you. Like this is just like, wow,
I
really
just
impressed."
It was wrong.
No, I stole it. I legitimately stole it from an episode of Smart List that I listened to like last week.
I just assumed you were wrong and just blew through it in the sense of like, let me save Zach so nobody else notices, and let's go.
Now that's where the universe is upside down when Mo's like, let's save Zach on something. That's going to do it for this episode of the Basket Buds edition of the Athletic MVO Show podcast. Make sure you're checking out The Bounce, theathletic.com/bounce for the, I don't know if it's the best newsletter, but it'll kill 5 minutes in the morning for you.
It's the best.
I don't know. Tom Ziller's pretty good, but might be second best. So check that out. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page. You can watch us talk and check out the Daily Ding going live every night on that old YouTube page. Make sure you're checking that out for instant analysis and the best analysis of what happens in the playoffs. Make sure you're checking out all of Jay King's coverage with the Celtics and their run of, can they finally put the Hawks away? That just the drama in that series. And then you'll want to, the coverage of Bucks Sixers, or I'm sorry, Celtics Sixers in the next round. You're going to want that. Make sure that you're checking out One Mo Thing on the old social medias. Just follow Mo. What is it? Mo_NBA.
Yes, on
Twitter, that?
Instagram, and TikTok. I'm impressed.
TikTok as well. Make sure that you let Mo steal your information on TikTok. For Mo Dakhil, for Jay King, for Trevon Edwards, for David DeFore, I'm Zach Harper. Keep it locked on The Athletic.